This is one thing I always teach people. You gotta have a why. Like, we're entrepreneurs. When you get a business, you better know your why.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be a point it's not gonna go well.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't go well, you need to have that why there to reinforce why you're doing what you're doing. So my big why was, I remember like in the 10th grade, I lost all my grandparents by the time I was in the 10th grade. And, you know, I was there when my maternal grandmother died, and I was in love with this lady. And I show up, I'm like at a basketball camp here at Georgia Tech, and my cousins call me and they tell me, you need to come home. I don't think grandmother's gonna make it. So I come home and I'm in the room, everybody's surrounding the bed, they're crying. And I spoke to her maybe for like a minute, and then I could just tell she was just holding on. So I was like, Grandma, you can leave. And she died in that moment. And when she died, I said to myself, like, I gotta be something for my family, like to help with this. Now, when we had the funeral, I remember her mother, my great-grandmother, showed up at the funeral. She was 105. Now imagine this, my grandmother is 67 at the time of her death. Her mother, my great-grandmother, walks in at 105. And I'm sitting there as a 15-year-old kid thinking to myself, like, this isn't right. Like, it's supposed to be the other way around. And it made me constantly question, like, why did she live to 105? Like, what was her secret?
Yeah, because you would have had another 60-some years.
Yeah, and I had...
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? But I eventually took a job in Japan where I had the opportunity to study people who live to 100, no disease, eat primarily a plant-based diet. I lived there for 4.5 years.
Wow.
Okay? While I was there, what I learned was their lifestyle was my great-grandmother's lifestyle. Okay. She lived on a farm. She ate mostly the food from around the house. She worked manually throughout the day outside in the sun. You know, she was stress-free. All of those principles were the same principles that the people in Okinawa were living by.
Wow.
And that's why she lived to 105. My grandmother, on the opposite end, cooked every morning with Jimmy Dean sausages, Crisco, those pop open biscuits, all processed foods. So it told me that was the issue. And then that gave me my why. It was like, okay, so had I known what I knew now, I could have saved my grandmother. Thanks for watching this video, but be sure to check this next video out that's right here.